Hello and welcome to lesson 3 of Yoga for Athletes. The third lesson focuses on the lower back, and this video is meant to offer you 6 postures that you can do during your own time to keep your lower back tension free. Now, most adults at some point during their lives will have lower back pain. For some of us, lower back pain can be chronic. You may do a sport that makes this worse. And so the idea behind the practice today is to keep that area of our body tension free. Now, if your lower back discomfort ever progresses beyond mild and you start to feel pain or neurological symptoms such as tingling, muscle weakness, then it's time to go see a doctor or a medical professional who can help you. As always, unless I specify, these postures are meant to be held for 8 to 10 breaths at a time. It's really important that you warm up before doing these postures, whether it's with a short yoga practice or maybe through a sport that you do. If anything is uncomfortable and isn't right for your body, but I haven't given the necessary modifications, then please drop me a line at heatherpearsonyoga@gmail.com and ask me your questions. Enjoy. Namaste. So the first posture is Chakravakasana, more commonly known as cat and cow pose. This is a great way to introduce movement into your back, into the area of the spine, specifically in the lower spine. You might find if you wake up in the morning and you feel a bit tense and it's difficult to stand up right away or to stand up straight, then this might be something in particular that you find helpful. So you come onto your hands and knees, and it's really your choice. The first cue I give is always to bring your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. But if that's uncomfortable, then please walk your hands forward or widen the knees until you come to a place that's appropriate for your own body and that feels right. On the inhale, we tilt the sit bones, which are back here, up to the sky, extend through the spine and gaze forward. And then we exhale to draw the sit bones down, round the spine, dropping the head, the neck is long. So we inhale to extend the spine, exhale to flex. And I would say do this maybe 8 or 10 times until you feel your body is warm. Now, if it's uncomfortable to be on your knees for that long a time, then fold over your mat or fold up a blanket and put it under your knees to provide you with some extra padding. So the next posture is Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward facing dog. Now, I would recommend coming in and out of this posture dynamically before holding it for a couple of breaths. So what you do is you start on your hands and knees, similar to how we did in Chakravakasana. Inhale here to lengthen out through the spine. Exhale to shift your hips back. Hover them over your ankles. Inhale to all fours. Turning the toes under, exhale up into downward dog. So in downward dog, don't worry about lengthening out through the legs completely. Instead, put a small bend in the knees and lift the sit bones high. Your spine is long, your fingers are spread wide. On the inhale, come to all fours. Release the toes. Exhale to Balasana, hovering the hips over the ankles. Inhale to all fours. Turning the toes under, exhale to downward dog. Inhale to come down, releasing the toes, exhale to child's pose. So it's up to you. I would play around with this and see how it feels in your body. For some people, holding downward facing dog for more than a breath is too strong of a posture. And if that's you, then I recommend coming in and out of it dynamically. But if it feels comfortable, then try holding it for 3 or 4 breaths and see how that feels. So if you find being in downward facing dog to be uncomfortable on the floor, an alternative is to do it at the wall. So come to arm's length distance away from the wall, and then start to walk your feet out until your upper body is parallel to the floor. Keep a small bend into the knees so that we don't create too much stress on the spine. The neck is long, your gaze is on the floor. Stay here for 8 to 10 breaths, and then walk yourself back up. So the idea is that you create the exact same shape of the downward facing dog, only in a more upright position. The next posture is Sphinx pose, which is a supported back bend. So again, we start in all fours, and then walk your elbows forward to where the tips of your fingers were. I like to turn my toes under and then push myself forward, bringing the hips down to the ground. Now, once you're down here, imagine that you're sliding a piece of paper underneath your belly. So what do you have to do for that to happen? Lifting and pulling inwards. And what this does is it supports the lower spine. Now, if this is too uncomfortable on your lower back, then walk your elbows forward so that the lift isn't so great. And then to come out, you walk your hands to where the elbows were, step up into all fours, and then come down into child's pose. I would hold that for 8 to 10 breaths if it's comfortable for you. The next posture is also a back bend, Dvipadapitam, or two-legged table. So you come down onto your back, and especially if you have any lower back problems, I recommend rolling onto your side and then onto your back to come onto the floor. Adjust your feet so that they're underneath your knees, and you can just barely touch the ankles. And then start to roll the pelvis, or starting with the sit bones, off of the floor, then rolling up one vertebra at a time, and exhale to roll back down. Now, on the next time, bring your hands over top of your head. Inhale to lift up, and as you roll up, bring your arms down by your side, and then exhale to come back down. So doing this 8 to 10 times fluidly, lifting, and then coming back down, making sure that your knees aren't flying out to the edges of your mat. And if that's happening, place a block or a book between them and squeeze it so that your knees are focused in alignment. To come out, roll onto your side, press down with the top arm, and come up to seated. The next posture is Jatara Parivartanasana, or lying twist. Now, we've done this already in the hips section of the Yoga for Athletes course, but this is going to be a variation which creates the rotation to be a little bit milder and a little bit more gentle on your lower spine. So come onto your back as we have before, and then bring your feet towards your sit bones, lift the hips and move them over to the left side. And then we're going to roll our knees over to the right. And as you do that, bring a bolster and place it between your lower legs so that the ankles and the knees are supported. Now, if you don't have a bolster, you can use a couple of firm cushions to place between your legs. And then we bring our arms out or bend at the elbows, palms face up. So up to you how you want to place your arms. Focus on keeping the shoulders equally grounded into the mat. And then to come and gaze over your opposite shoulder. To come out, bring your head back to center. I like to hold on to my bolster. I lift up through one leg, bring the other one to meet it. Adjust my hips to the center and then over to the other side, and then roll over onto my other side, looking over the right shoulder. Staying here for 8 to 10 breaths, or however long you want. Then coming out. So lifting up the top knee first, followed by the next. Moving the bolster to the side. And then rolling, adjusting your hips so that they're in the middle of the mat. Rolling onto the side and then coming up. There you go, Jatara Parivardhanasana. The final posture is Supta Baddha Konasana, and this is a variation of the posture that we've done before with Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining bound angle. So we bring the bolster or the cushions onto the mat, roll onto your side, and then onto your back, and walk your feet onto the bolster, and then open your knees out to the side. So you're creating a diamond shape with your legs. Now, if you feel your lower back lifting up, then I recommend placing your feet on the bolster, lifting up your sacrum and pelvis, and just tucking it under and lowering back down to help you flatten your lower spine along the floor. Bring your feet together and then open up. And I like to kind of play around with the placement of the bolster so that it's comfortable. And then it's up to you. You might find it really comfortable bringing your hands to your side, using that opportunity to open up through the chest with your palms up, or maybe it's comfortable bringing your hands to your belly. Now this is a variation from doing it directly on the floor or doing it with a bolster on your back. So it's really up to you what's most comfortable for your body. But if you have lower back problems, sometimes this is a really nice way to relax into a flat surface while opening up through your hips. Staying here for about 5 minutes, and then using your hands to lift the knees together, rolling onto your side, and then coming up. So that is a variation of Supta Baddha Konasana.